Back, and this is still Good Morning Nigeria, and on the service of the NTA. As a part to our conversation, which is a review of the PDP primaries, here is correspondent Oyeyemi Ajayi with a background report.
Conduct of primaries by political parties is a statutory obligation in the electoral process. It is the time when the chosen delegates in each political party elect the standard bearers of their parties to contend for the desired positions with opponents in other parties. Ahead of the 2023 general elections, political parties have held primaries for various positions. The People's Democratic Party have concluded its entire primaries, electing former Vice President Atiku Abubakar as the presidential candidate of the party. Series of drama were experienced, such as acclaimed dollar reigns, violence and deaths in some cases, parallel primaries in some states, and the trend of contenders withdrawing or stepping down from contest, while some defect to other parties. It is noteworthy that against its earlier stance, the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) succumbed to pressure to extend the deadline for the conduct of primaries by political parties to the 9th of June this year, which is 6 more days after the initial deadline of June 3rd. The Commission made the adjustment after a meeting with the Inter-Party Advisory Council (IPAC), which is an umbrella body for the 18 registered political parties in Nigeria. It is expected that this extension will help all political parties conclude outstanding primaries and prepare to upload the list of candidates and their affidavits on the INEC Candidates Nomination Portal from 10th to 17th June 2022. This window was an opportunity for the All Progressives Congress (APC) to reschedule its presidential primary election from Sunday 29th and Monday 30th May 2022 to Monday 6th to Wednesday 8th of June 2022. As all race towards 2023 is on top gear, the desire of many Nigerians is for the primaries to be free and fair in order to produce leaders that will turn the fortunes of the country around, and the question is, are we there yet? Guests on NTA's Good Morning Nigeria will give their perspectives shortly.
All right, thank you very much there for that background. With us in the studios now to discuss these issues, we would like to welcome Dr. Baraka Sani, who was a member of the Protocol and Venue Subcommittee of the PDP Special National Convention and Director Delegate Mobilization of the Atiku Campaign Organization. Dr. Baraka, pleasure to have you. Good morning, Nigeria.
Good morning, Nigeria.
Also here with us in the studios is Honorable Danladi Esuzin. He is a two-time chairman of the Kuje Area Council of the Federal Capital Territory, and also a former Federal Commissioner, Public Complaints Commission. We would like to welcome Honorable Esuzin to our program this morning.
Thank you. Good morning.
And also in the studio with us is Dr. Peter Oine, a public affairs analyst and the CEO, Advanced Management Academy, Abuja, also a fellow of the Institute of Public Relations. You're welcome to Good Morning Nigeria.
Yeah, thank you very much. Good morning, Nigerians.
All right, so let's begin the conversation. We hope to be joined subsequently by another guest via Zoom, a regular on Good Morning Nigeria, to make his own contribution to the primaries of the People's Democratic Party that we'll be discussing. As we did say, the People's Democratic Party capped its primaries at the weekend with the special convention where the candidate for the presidential election was elected by the delegates. Let's begin with Dr. Baraka Sani. Congratulations on the outcome of your primaries. If nothing else, we didn't hear reports of heads being broken or legs being broken at the special convention. But there were, in the lead up to the special convention, as we also saw with other political parties, not their own convention now, but in the primaries, some unsavory incidents. But tell us what went right at the special convention and the lead up thereto.
Well, thank you very much, and once again, good morning, Nigeria. The PDP convention that was held on Saturday, went very well, and I'm sure Nigerians can attest to the fact that it's one of the best of its kind that has ever happened. It took place in a new venue, and for the first time a convention, was held at the Velodrome. Every day you keep discovering beautiful things about Nigeria. We have potential, but if we don't put it to use, you wouldn't even discover. Due to the fact that another party was, also trying to hold its convention around the same period, we were left with no choice but to go to the Velodrome. And the PDP, as usual, discovered one of the best venues of holding such events. And, you saw it, I think, on that day. It was very colorful. What was new about the convention was the fact that the delegates number changed, you saw, drastically from the usual thousands to just a little like 767, I think, participated. And that brought down the time, turnaround time to the whole event. So people were not exhausted, they were not tired. And apart from that, the convention provided an avenue for party stalwarts to meet and say hello and, rediscover themselves again. And I think that's one of the most beautiful aspects about the convention. In addition to that, you also saw the conduct and the transparency with which the convention was held. It was properly lit. People were properly seated. There was no rush. And at the end of the day, the rules were clearly spelled out. The chairman of the accreditation committee did the usual, which is Governor Okowa. And everybody was generally satisfied with the whole conduct of the activity. And I think it's a good way to, for a good start. And at the end of the day, all the candidates accepted the fact that it went very well. It was clear and transparent. And though many went in for it, Atiku Abubakar emerged victorious. But because the process was fair and clean and transparent, everybody accepted. And they wished us well, And they wish Nigeria well, because Nigeria is the one to benefit from the outcome of that wonderful event.
You were there in 2019, 2018, 2019, and now you're still with the part of the convention itself. Can you tell us what is the difference between what took place in 2018 at the primaries of the PDP and this one? What is the shift? How did it go? What's the takeaway for people that watched it?
Well, the PDP convention has always provided a platform for Nigerians to take away the fact that PDP is a party of process, PDP is a transparent party, and PDP is always, a pioneer in so many aspects. And what I can tell you is when we went to Port Harcourt, that was in 2018, we're apprehensive probably because we've not gone that side for a while. And people were like, it's going to be a different terrain. We were thinking about the accommodation. How are we going to fit in, and what is the outcome going to be? And at the end of the day, also because the process, I think conventions are, right once the accreditation goes well. When the convention, when any convention fails, you realize that it fails from the process. Once the process is not fair and clean and transparent, then the convention starts to build up into trouble. So in 2018, we had the contestants and everybody was satisfied with the accreditation process. So everything went peacefully well. And at the end of the day, all the contestants accepted the result. But then the delegates were so many and the expectations were not too high. This time around, the expectations became too high, and whatever it is, at the end of the day, people made their choice, and we are clear, we are out of it. And I think Nigerians should appreciate the fact that PDP is always a pace setter. When the INEC shifted the date, people thought PDP was not ready. We were also going to move with that shift. But we remained, we stuck, we were on our point and we went ahead on the date we said. And we came out and we are done with it. Now we are moving on.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Baraka Sani. Let's bring in Honorable Donlade. Honorable Donlade, what has gone right with the PDP primaries and special convention, and what are the concerns, if any?
You see, first of all, the leadership is very focused and organized. You cannot give what you don't have. The PDP national chairman is an experienced person. He is someone who have headed the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And indeed, the entire working committee members are experienced. And usually, PDP is well organized. Why the convention was transparent is because leadership resolved to be transparent, give a free, fair grant for everybody to participate. And so that's why the convention was very successful. Everybody was allowed 5 minutes given to all the aspirants to say what they want to say at the end before the voting commenced. And whosoever was failing will see himself failing. If you are winning, you will see yourself winning. But in PDP, we don't even call it either losing or loser or winning, because we are the same family, and the umbrella is big enough to cover up, to protect everybody from the sun, from the rain, and the rest of them.
Indeed, you are FCT PDP delegates at the convention.
Yes.
Can you tell us, was the PDP primaries, like they said by some media outlets in the country, dollarized as reported?
You see, it's not everything you see in social media that you believe on. I saw it, I was just laughing. The truth of the matter is that people move from Lagos State, from various states. Of course, you must fly. You must fly a ticket. You must either come by road or plane. When you get here, you must look for accommodation. When you're also here as delegate, you must eat. So whatever you mobilize for yourself, or anybody say, take this to ease your stay in Abuja for the purpose of election. There's nothing bad there. But the way people are blowing it, I think we gave $20,000. There was nothing like that. It's just social media, fake news, and just going about like that. People, that is why the system is open, secret, balloting, voting. You are left there with whatever anybody have told you before you get to the ground of the venue of the voting. You are left with your conscience and with your God to vote. Nobody is monitoring you. And you see, it was so organized, so transparent that people will go around, each voting point is covered. You select between you and your God. Delegates are also delegates. So whatever, that is why God is God. Whatever anybody have said during the campaign, delegates were focused to choose who they know that is the best among them. And I have been saying it, if our internal democracy is not transparent, forget it. But the only way we could develop politically in this country is for political parties to organize a very transparent processes of selecting who stand for party. Not minding any political party. Let APC also get their best, and then Nigerians will decide.
Okay, thank you, Honorable Donlade. We will return to the question of the alleged corruption of some delegates, not just at the special convention as has been indicated, but in the course of the primaries. There are still photographs. There are also video photographs. There are also videos of the alleged incidents, and I'm sure you must have also seen what some cartoonists have been playing up. I think there is a book that is said now to be a bestseller, How to Be a Delegate, or How to Become a Delegate. I'm sure you've also seen that. But sometimes we can crack jokes about this, but as we discussed on Good Morning Nigeria late last week, these are serious issues that impact ultimately on the quality of our democracy. We did indicate that we'll be joined by another guest via Zoom. He's available now. We understand Dr. Ernest Ereke, Senior Lecturer of Political Science at the University of Abuja, and a regular guest on Good Morning Nigeria. Dr. Ereke, I'm delighted to have you on the program this morning.
Thank you very much, and good morning.
All right. While the Zoom connection is still sharp, we have another guest here in the studios whom we earlier introduced. That's Oyeneye. He's a public affairs analyst. We will give you the first shot so that we take advantage, as I said, of your Zoom connection. Dr. Ernest Oreke, well, the PDP is virtually done and dusted, as we said, with his primaries. Although we understand that the primaries for, if I'm right, I think it's Bonny State, if not PDP or APC, one of the parties. Those primaries haven't been concluded just yet. But give us your take as to what is played out, what has played out for the People's Democratic Party in terms of getting its candidates for next year's elections.
Okay, thank you very much. For the PDP's selection process of candidates for next year's general elections, I can say that it has been a mixed bag of a mixed basket of some sorts. We have seen the good, we have seen the bad, we have also seen the ugly. We mustn't shy away from the fact that we have seen some negative parts of Nigerian politics in the nomination process. However, one thing we must give to the party is that the party has demonstrated that it is ready for the 2023 general elections, while other political parties, particularly the major political parties, are still battling with internal arrangements and politicking towards the nomination process within their parties. The PDP has gone ahead to even select its presidential candidate, and nearly about 90% of its candidates in very many other parts of the country. And therefore, on that basis, we can give it to the leadership of the party that the party is organized, the party is ready to go as far as the 2023 general elections are concerned. However, while the party is ready for the 2023 general elections, we must also be mindful of the fact of what transpired within these primaries. We have heard stories of how monies exchanged hands. We have heard stories of manipulations in some parts of the country. We have heard stories of intimidation, and we have heard stories of imposition. And therefore, these are ugly trends that have come with the primaries. But again, these are not limited to just the People's Democratic Party. I'm a participant, and I can tell you that in Ebonyi State, where I am, that I have lost count of how many times these primaries have been postponed in Ebonyi State. Yesterday, we thought we were going to conduct our primaries, only for the party, for the national leadership of the party, to call off, to put off the exercise while the exercise was underway. And so for some of us, we are tired of the intrigues and the delays, in choosing candidates for the People's Democratic Party in Ebonyi State. As we speak, we are yet to conduct primaries for State House of Assembly, primaries to select candidates for House of Representatives, the Senate, and governorship elections. And so the intrigues are getting frustrating. People are frustrated because it is just a simple exercise of picking who will fly the flag of the party, in the general elections. And so while we have seen some good parts in what PDP has done, we have equally seen some ugly trends that do not speak well about our democratic process in the country. And this is a very crucial, the nomination process is a very crucial part. In fact, indeed, it is the foundation of either good or bad governance. It is the foundation of good representation or poor representation eventually, because the candidates who are selected at this point will ultimately fly the flag of the party in the general elections and may be elected into those positions. And so if political intrigues, manipulations will ensure will lead to the selection of candidates who may not do well in political offices, then it doesn't speak well of our democratic process.
Dr. Ernest, still going to stay with you. You talked about political intrigues and you not being able to have your primaries into the State House of Assembly and the rest. Can you tell me, time is going, tick-tock, and at the end of the day, it's a limited time. Are we going to see a scenario like what happened in Zamfara in 2019 if you don't put your house in order?
Well, we have made several efforts to try to put our house in order. You just referred to now, but the intrigues and the interests are too many. I do not understand. It still beats my imagination that in a political party you have two different kinds of lists, two different lists of delegates to votes in the same primaries of the same political party. And so you begin to wonder why, where and when were these lists produced? Because I thought the political party should have conducted as we were told. Congresses will elect the ad hoc delegates. And therefore, when you begin to see one group say it has a different list from what the other group has, you begin to wonder whether the party is really, you begin to wonder what really is going on within the political party. But the truth is that I want to believe that the National Working Committee of the party is finally ready to resolve this crisis in Ebonyi State. And that is why the leadership decided to call off the primaries that were underway yesterday. So we want to believe that this time around they will finally put their foot on ground, having done with the National Convention, and then with the grace of the extension of nomination processes by INEC. I want to believe that the National Working Committee of our party will finally resolve this crisis in Ebonyi State, and will have candidates, to restore the lost mandate, the stolen mandate of PDP in Ebonyi State.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ernest Oreke. I'll return to you presently in the course of this conversation. Back to the studios here. Mr. Peter Oyineye, let's have your own take on what has transpired with the PDP primaries across the country, including the special convention for the choice of its presidential candidate.
Yeah, thank you very much. I want to put on record that there's a need to congratulate the party for what it has done so far. I wasn't expecting 100% success, but largely what we have done is actually very, very commendable. And I also want to believe that the works of National Orientation Agency, the works of media organizations like NTA, FRCN, and all of the jingles and the rest of them, trying to encourage people to do it right, to play it safe, and the rest of them, we have achieved some level of result. Like some of my colleagues have said, it's not, everything was not really good, okay, but when we have over 75-80% of success, then we should applaud the organizers. And I also think one of the reasons why we have that is because PDP is a very old party, okay, so I'm sure they leverage on leadership and experience they have garnered over the years. But we just want to appeal that others should learn from this, and for the areas which have not been done properly, it can actually be sorted out. It one big house, and they can do it, because Nigeria, we're looking at them, we are interested in what they're doing, because whatever they do also inform what we are going to do when we get to the election day. So I want to once again say they've tried, and although there's room for improvement.
Would you say the democratic process in Nigeria, based on the primaries that took place, is maturing?
Yeah, actually, whether you like it or not, we are not where we were yesterday. Things are looking up we are improving. Because you can imagine like the one we had here in Abuja, if it were before, heads would have been broken, legs would be picked on the road. But it wasn't like that. So I think we are learning and we are putting it to practice. But like I said, there is always a room for improvement.
Okay, thank you, Peter. Back to Dr. Barak Hassani. But there were some incidents in the lead up to the special convention of the PDP. Two of the aspirants pulled out. Peter Obi, former governor of Anambra State, pulled out. We understand, I think he's joined the Labour Party. Mohammed Hayatuddin, former banker, also pulled out, and in his own case, he did complain about what he described as the monetization of the process. How did the party receive this, and what impact did these withdrawals have on the eventual outcome, and if you like, the integrity of the process?
Well, as a political party, you know, you always want to see people coming into your kingdom, you know, into your boss, joining the party by the day, thousands and thousands. So when you see your stakeholders, some of them major stakeholders, moving away from your party into another party, it is obvious that you will not feel so happy about it. But whether we like it or not, we still have to give kudos to the democratic development in Nigeria, because it is evolving. And when you say democracy is evolving, the convention is not the only process of electing the president. You know, there are so many things that build up into that convention. For instance, when you look at the delegates mobilization, which is the area I handled, so many things have, you know, come up. We have moved away from the old system of the delegates being supervised by the major stakeholders, and on the day of election you just listen to your major stakeholder tells you go and do this, and that is it. Now we have opened the space for interaction between the delegate and the aspirants, and I think this has made them understand more. It makes them to understand more in terms of, okay, what has this person got to offer? And some of them are able to make their decisions even before their leaders tell them this is what you need to do. So with that, you see, it is eroding that aspect of imposition. Because we have seen a situation where even when the leaders say you must vote for this, the delegates tell their leaders that, look, we think this is not the one we should do. This is what we should do. In the case of my principal, Atiku Abubakar, he spoke to each and every single delegate in Nigeria that participated in this activity, with the exception of those whose phones were switched off and probably those who locked up their delegates or didn't pick up their calls. And that gave him room to understand what it was on ground for the delegates, what their concerns were. Some were concerned about marginalization. And he told them, he said, okay, listen, I am a president for all Nigerians. I am not a sectional president. And that is why I did not fly.
I will be. It's not yet.
No. It's not I will be, but that is what he's telling them, that this is what he's coming to do. So for us in the PDP, we think this is the way to go. You know, when you talk about competence, experience, and carry people along, you know, coming together to move forward. So before it was not like that. No delegate was ever contacted. So, and then you look at the stakeholders themselves. There's something that is happening. Some of our aspirants, you know, when they come out and they want something, if they don't get it, they move out and go to another place. This is because you don't have the philosophy with which you say you hold a grip, you know. For instance, in the US, when you say you are a Democrat, you know what you are. When you say you are a Republican, you know what you are, the philosophy behind your membership. In Nigeria, it's still, you know, premature. It's still nursing, because you find somebody today in PDP, tomorrow in Labour, next tomorrow back in PDP, because you don't have anything. But now it's beginning to come on board. And party supremacy is also important. You can agree with me. In PDP, party supremacy is returning. Before, it was hijacked by a particular section of, you know, the stakeholders. But now this chairman and the NWC are standing firm. It is very easy to destroy. But when you want to put things right back, it becomes more difficult. But whether we like it or not, we have to give it to PDP that PDP is a pioneer, and we just go head on. We are always the first to experience the good or bad of whatever process it is in there. Then when we test it and it is okay, then others follow. So you see, with PDP on board, so many things will change. The institutions will be stronger. Party supremacy will return just like it is returning now. And it is the leadership that holds everybody together to come back under one umbrella. And the chairman is an experienced person, like you heard. And even women, we are so much looking forward into getting better things in terms of dividends of democracy, which we are really not happy with before.
I was going to come to that, because you are the cart pullers. You are like the horse that pulls the cart. Yeah. What is happening? We didn't see much women at the primaries or women contesting on the platform of the PDP. And we've been agitating for 35% affirmative action and more position in government. What happened with the PDP this time around?
Honestly, that is why I say Nigerians should start to look out in terms of interest groups, look forward to the aspirants. When you have an aspirant, don't look at him in terms of zone, in terms of your language. Language will not help you, neither will ethnicity do or religion, because in the US, that's more like one of the fathers of democracy. If this indices were important, I'm sure the US would have been the first to be using them as determinants of candidates. Maybe you come from the Washington or from New York, okay, we have to vote for you. But they come on the basis of issue, and issues that's where you see interest groups, like maybe the farmers coming together to say this is the person that will give us the policy we want, and then the weapons manufacturers coming together, the educationists coming together. That is why I say women too should look at these aspirants and say who is going to give us what we want. For me, I think it's Atiku Abubakar. Why? Because the position I am holding is about one of the most important positions as far as primary elections of anybody is concerned, especially a presidential candidate. He gave it to me in 2018, and now again he gave it to me. So anybody that is able to put all his eggs in one basket and give them to a woman to say deliver, I think that person will help us get favorable policies and bills out of the National Assembly through leadership and proper lobby. Then women can get in there. No amount of agitation and crisis and will give us this, except you have a leader who sees through the same prism as women do. We are supposed to be supporting, like a bicycle. When you are wheeling a bicycle, you can't wheel with one leg. You need the other leg. And I told the youths, if you are looking, you have the not too young to run bill. But if you are looking for the person to make you become beneficiaries of that bill, you don't have the political currency, you don't have the economic currency, you don't have the judicial currency. So, but you need to have a leader who believes in your own ability to deliver. Then he will pull you up to the table, give you a chair on the decision-making table. Then you can be there. Just like he did when he was there. Atiku Abubakar promoted Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala. It was not an Igbo man that came to promote her. He promoted Charles Soludo. It was not an Igbo man that promoted Charles Soludo. He promoted Akin Adesina to become the AFDB president. Atiku Abubakar is not a Yoruba man. But you see, once you have a leader that carries everybody along, then we will all be happy. Today in Nigeria, one section is waiting for its own president. When he comes, then the other section is saying it's not our turn. We are waiting for our own president. Development cannot come this way. Our challenges are national. Therefore, the solution should be a national solution. Having a leader who understands the problem, first of all. You cannot give a farmer injection and say give it to that person. If it is the problem of farm, agriculture, you need somebody that is savvy in terms of getting the right hands irrespective of religion, tribe, or ethnicity. Once you can deliver, come and deliver. Atiku Abubakar is that kind of person, and that is why I say I am also looking in terms of who will give women what they want. The youth should look at who will give the youths what they want.
It seems the campaign has started.
It's not about campaign. You will agree with me. In every party, this is what Nigerians must look out for. Even in my state in Kano, I told them, I said, look, it's no longer, you come in under an umbrella of a winning party alone. You must bring something to the table in terms of solution.
Okay, Dr. Baraka, thank you very much. We've allowed you to say this, obviously, because the outcome of your special convention is known, and Atiku is now your standard bearer. We will get into details, but I want to bring in again Dr. Ernest Ereke. Dr. Ernest Ereke, I'd like you to also make your own observation as to the somewhat patriarchal color we have seen in the primaries across the country. Our focus today, of course, is on the PDP, with the exception of Adamawa State, where a serving senator, Binabi, emerged as the candidate of the All Progressives Congress. Virtually everywhere, you're seeing very few women and very few young persons, and also very few persons with disability. In other words, people are asking questions about the inclusion in the outcomes of the primaries. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I think it's very worrisome and disturbing because, as you rightly pointed out, across the country, we haven't seen a good number of the traditionally marginalized groups, being nominated across the political parties. When you talk about the traditional marginalized groups, you are referring to women, you are referring to young people, and to people living with disabilities. And my fear is that after the 2015 general elections, the number of women in both the Senate and House of Representatives, went very low. And it even became worse after the 2019 general elections. I foresee a situation where it will probably be worse than where the 10th Assembly will have very few women, in the 10th Assembly. And what this means is that issues around gender empowerment and all of that may have to suffer because women are not there. And this speaks volume of our democratic system. Democracy is supposed to be all-inclusive. I recall that sometime in the build-up to the primaries of political parties, in this program, Good Morning.
All right, there's a freeze there on the Zoom connection to Dr. Ernest Ereke. Once,
yes,
all right. Okay. Ernest, you are back. I think it's a challenge, we understand, of low bandwidth from Ernest. Once you pop up again, we will let you make your response further. But back to the studios here. Honorable Danladi, we're still on the issue of inclusion of marginalized groups, women, young persons, and those who have one physical challenge or the other. We've seen it's everywhere, men.
You see, the issue is that, like I've earlier said, we are developing politically. Now, no matter how the political party wants the participation of the youth and women, you cannot force people to offer themselves for service. It has to be internally building you that I'm ready. And
you say that already?
Yes, the masses are no longer, it's no longer a deal that you will be called to come and serve when you are not ready.
But if
this job should be a job to
forefront of the campaign for any political party, that means they must be ready.
If they didn't offer themselves, the nomination forms, the forms are sold, and there are conditions to less it for the women. What I'm saying, you must first of all offer yourself that I'm ready to serve. So if they didn't come out to contest, what happens? But again, you look at the environment, our cultural background, there are some sections that just feel that leadership is not for women. if you are coming from that background of the state or country, they are at disadvantage. But you see, PDP has planned it in such a way that even if the participation in elective positions are not, women are not fully coming, there are other chances that women will come to participate. But I want to clearly say that the problem of woman is a woman too. It's the same woman that when a woman is contesting, you say, this woman that her tail is like this, and she get there, what will she do? Mostly the problem of women is women again. Men don't have problem. When I was local government chairman, let me tell you, let me give you for instance.
We were talking about hair here. You say hair tie. You are the old cap. Another man will say this cap, what you can collect,
But it's mostly with women. Leadership of women.
I think so. Times are changing. Women are becoming more aware that they need to.
I want to give you an instance. I was a local government chairman from 2007 to 2013. I had 11 heads of department. 9 were women, and I enjoy it because first of all, women are more afraid of corruption charges against them. They are more God-fearing than the men. That's what I've seen. That is the truth in handling public affairs. Some men don't care to steal billions of naira. All he feel maybe when he's handcuffed, he go to prison, he will get bail, he will get lawyers. But the woman is more shy. He feel for my children to watch me on television and I'll be handcuffed to prison. So getting women involved in governance will give us a better result. That I believe.
Okay, that's nice.
So, we will just call on women to really come out to participate. And the time is getting off because the primaries are getting over. There is specification for timetable for when the primary should end. So
if they don't contest in an election to win, would they be given opportunities through positions so that they can render their services to Nigeria?
Of course, the party has a special plan and arrangement, the percentage to be given to women. So that they will fit in.
Dr. Baraka, let's hear your take on this before we bring in Peter here one more time. In terms of the apparent exclusion of the majority of women from the primaries, or from nomination, if you like.
Well, you see, having been into the system and understanding the system, I can see what our problems are. And virtually you have 5 major categories of currencies, that I call it, that if they are not present, it will become more difficult for you to get into the mainstream. This politics we hear about, everybody can buy from. In reality, it is not like that. We have what is called stakeholding. And stakeholders are those that are the soul of the party in the state. To be able to become a stakeholder, you must have basically most of these currencies. What are they? Number 1, you need education, the educational currency. Number 2, you need communication, the media that will back you up. Number 3, you need the judiciary. Almost every election ends up in the courts of law, and you need money to use that to pay for the law. The law is not cheap. You have to pay for the services. Then you also need the law enforcement. And when you see all these things put together, women don't own them. Our women are economically underprivileged. They are underserved. And once you don't have the instrument with which to buy any of these categories, then you are already disadvantaged. Number 2, the PDP, it's a party that is all-encompassing. However, as it evolves, you begin to see certain loopholes that you need to block up, just like the electoral law. It was after the National Assembly has given us that bill, then they realized that clause that excluded everybody except the delegates that were voted specifically for the purposes of the convention, which they rectified. The same thing with the PDP constitution. The PDP constitution says we should have 35% of the positions, but it did not specify how. That was why when we attempted to get the deputy national chairman position, they said, but how and where is it going to come from? Now we need some amendment, which we were promised, But we didn't get that amendment done because time, became against everybody. We were waiting for the electoral law and so on. It came to pass. The PDP was able to give certain percentage of the delegate structure to women. Unfortunately, the one national delegate was not involved. So it is just one person per local government. What we hope to get is to be able to be more included. It has to be inclusive. So the PDP should come up with another law that will improve the delegate structure to make them into 3, even though the APC copied from the PDP, but they copied, they gave more room for that. So, and PDP will catch up, will also block some seats for women. And also another issue has to do with the constitution. In as much as they want to give women that space, the constitution says there is no discrimination. So if you now say you must block this for women, some people are of the opinion that it will break the fundamental human rights of people. But then, with pressure and understanding and party supremacy and then good leadership and the right person, I think together the senior stakeholders need to bring more women and persons with disability on board, and the youths too. These 3 sectors are excluded seriously. But we need somebody to move us into the mainstream, and that is why people should look out for such a strong party that is supreme, that can be able to bring the stakeholders and get them to approve of the law change in the constitution. Number 2, leaders that will understand and open up space for women to have a chair on the decision-making table and the youth to have a chair. Not this rhetorics of supporting language, tribe, or your own, I know you, you know me. I know you, you know me will not do anything for us in Nigeria. We have to begin to look at issues. If every interest group finds the right person to anchor your interest and put pressure there, then we'll be moving, step closer to the developed countries that we are all looking at.
Okay, Dr. Peter, let's have your opinion.
Yeah, talking about this issue of women again, I want to say, like Dr. Baraka said, okay, we need to encourage the women. But Honorable Danadi also said you cannot force people. Okay, people have to make themselves available. But we also know that there are some factors that actually work against women. One, night parties. Night meetings. Politicians I don't know why they like to meet in the night, late in the night. So how many men will allow their wives to go take part in such meetings? It's a serious challenge. The issue of the economic currency as well that Dr. Baraka has mentioned, okay, our women do not have the wherewithal like men, okay, so this challenge is also there. But the onus is on the political parties, lawmakers, and the rest of them to ensure that let's try and encourage them. Okay, can we take out with laws and the rest of them so that we can bring in more women? Because I like what Dr. Danadi said he had worked with a lot of women, and he noticed that women are more God-fearing. We need people who are God-fearing because our country has suffered. People have suffered. Women have suffered. Men have suffered. Our children have suffered. People have been kidnapped. They are in those camps for years. And I don't think a lot of, we have not done enough about that. But women who have this milk of kindness will have done better. So we need these women. So if we cannot get them through the elections now, I think what all parties should do is that those positions that we have after election, let's bring in a lot of women. He also said that they don't want to be involved in corrupt practices because they have this shame that should member of my family see me on television in handcuffs? Should my children see me in handcuffs? So women are more careful. Okay, so let's encourage them. Probably if we can't do this through this election, let's do it through position. There are lots of positions there, and we're looking forward to that. PDP, APC, all other parties. Let's consider this. Let's give these women opportunity to serve. Actually, women are wonderful. Okay, they can do a lot for us. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Peter, for your comments. I was listening to Dr. Baraka Sani talk about the 5 currencies, the deficit which affect women in seeking elective offices. She itemized 4, but earlier she said 5. 4. 1, education. 2, communication. 3, litigation costs. And 4, law enforcement. She didn't tell us the 5th one. I was wondering, is it dollar, pound sterling,
economy,
or euro, or yen?
I said the economy, and really and truly, they are very important. And
which are important, dollar or all right, that's a prank. That's a prank.
Once you get the position, you'll be able to acquire these currencies. Yeah, so they should really put women into these positions. Now that we should be compensated, that is the word. Once we are compensated with good positions and we go there, men will never want to vote men again. Women are much better in terms of empathy, in terms of precision, in terms of perfection, in terms of being a mother. We carry that part of our heart into politics. That is empathy, and that is one of the things also that is pushing us a bit down, because sometimes when we're supposed to strike, we now say, oh no, but it will not be good, and then we now lose out. But men use their brains for politics, women use their hearts. Until we are able to reconcile our heart with our brains and play politics, we'll be at a disadvantage. But I wonder when that will be.
All right, that's a task going forward. We're going to have
You're welcome back, and we heard the Zoom is back. Dr. Ernest Ereke is back, and Dr. Ernest Ereke, you were responding to Kingsley's question when you went off. Can you continue on there, and then we begin to talk about other issues like the campaigns and how it should play out?
Okay, fine. Thank you very much. I was trying to talk about how exclusive our democratic process is becoming. Democracy is ideally is supposed to be all inclusive, but with what we are seeing now, we are gradually excluding the traditionally marginalized groups. And I was beginning to wonder, listening to one of the guests in the studio, if we are still talking about the same Nigeria. When you say that women or young people are not putting themselves forward, indeed women and young people are putting themselves forward, for these elections. But there are so many factors, as some guests there have, rightly mentioned. I recall that on this program, shortly before the primaries, started fully, that we discussed the high cost of purchasing the nomination forms, and it was quite incisive on this program. The guests on this program pointed out so many issues that will marginalize and exclude, some persons in the country. And indeed, I recall that it was Kingsley who pointed out that it was almost becoming like a plutocratic system instead of a democratic system, where the money bags will have to be the ones who will determine who takes what, when, and how. And I can tell you that this problem started with the nomination, with the high cost of nominations. You can imagine spending as much as 100 million or 41 million, to purchase forms. Not many women, not many young people will be able to afford some of these. And then apart from these nomination forms that are very expensive, we must tell ourselves the truth. If you have observed these primaries, you will discover that they are heavily monetized. Unlike before, the primaries are heavily monetized. And if you say, for instance, as Dr. Sani, tried to say, that this time around the delegates are free to interact with anybody. It is far from reality, because this time around the delegates are fewer in number, and therefore they can easily be hijacked as they have been hijacked. I can tell you that in Ebonyi State, for instance, the delegates have been quarantined for the past 2 weeks by a single individual. And you can only do this if you have the financial resources to be able to keep them in hotels to keep them away from other aspirants. Again, apart from quarantining the delegates or kidnapping the delegates, as we have witnessed in Ebonyi State, for instance, you also find a situation where the so-called stakeholders, there are people who will tell you that they own these delegates, and they try to intimidate and harass these delegates and insist that delegates must vote in a particular way. We have seen all of this play out, and we cannot run away from this. This system is not helping the democratic process in the country. And if somebody tells me that with what we are witnessing so far, that it is a signpost of political development, then that is far from reality, because what we are seeing is democratic recession, where individuals are hijacking the processes, where the process has become heavily and unduly heavily monetized, where individuals are intimidating others, where delegates are owned by individuals, and they insist that these delegates must vote in a particular way. I think.
Okay, Dr. Ernest Oreke, thank you very much. You've opened up again another aperture for this conversation. These are some of the issues, as you said, we talked about ahead of the primaries, even in the course of the party primaries. I want to come to Honorable Danladi. The whole question of direct versus indirect or consensus was one that gripped the attention of party stakeholders, party members, and analysts alike. From what we have seen, which is preferable, indirect or direct primaries? And when we are then talking about indirect primaries, that's the delegate system. And last Friday, while we were having a conversation on the historic duty of delegates, the question also came up, namely the quality of delegates that we have, who would make that choice. And in the case of the PDP, they have made a choice. APC will make theirs, and the third parties will also make theirs. So what is more preferable, direct or indirect primaries? And what is the quality or caliber of delegates that we have seen?
Yes, it all depends on individual local government. Like now, I represented Kujera Council. You have to look at my face and think of what will use to influence me, to change my mind on what I'm determined to do. What direction will you come?
Then we're looking at your face.
You can't talk. If you're talking, I'll just only allow you to talk and make your noise. Yeah. But of course, you can't twist me. Is it monetary or what? Is it ideas for me to know that this is the right person for the right job? So it all depends on the individual. That is why we must shift from sentiment to quality. You know, I don't want us to lose hope. I can see that we're improving democratically. The emergence of delegates next time is going to be more hot. Because
more hot because of what? See, because of what people have seen now with delegates.
Yeah, with these fewer numbers, we are hopeful that the president will sign the newly amended electoral act where more delegates will participate in the election. Now it was just 774 local government representatives, and of course, it's democratic. It has spread, but we would have loved more delegates participation. Because it will give more full participation. But since he refused to sign the electoral act as amended by the National Assembly, that's what anybody could do, is to comply with the provision of the laws. And of course, with representation from each local government in this country, I think we are good to go. But let me tell you, the improvement we need to do next is to ensure that delegates are, the maturity of the delegates is what we do, because sending your representative all the way from your local government to Abuja here, do you know that when we are at the venue, people were calling their delegates, telling them, this is the person we want you to give also. So my delegates were telling me, I said, can you see? So don't betray your people. Follow what people want, because you are here to represent the people. So that's to tell you where we are today. There is serious, tremendous improvement. I don't like the way people are talking about delegates. We are not kids. I'm 54. How can you look at my face and think you can tell me to vote for somebody, whether he gives dollars? All those things, we call them logistics. It's not by anybody's conscience.
So it's all about logistics.
It's logistics.
Okay, Honorable.
What kind of logistics?
I've earlier mentioned to you, a delegate must have accommodation, delegate must eat, delegate must fly a flight from Lagos.
Those who elected you to be a delegate, wouldn't they have taken care of your logistics?
We know where the country is today.
Okay, fine.
So logistics may come from your uncle, from your brothers, from your friends and well-wishers.
Okay, all right. Very good.
That's why I said that there is this book that is said to be a bestseller now. How to be a delegate or how to become a delegate.
So I would say that they should have studied delegate as BSc as in school. Okay, Dr. Baraka.
Yes.
The primaries have been done and dusted by the PDP. The campaigns begin soon. What kind of campaign are we looking at? Issue-based or the way it used to be before?
Well, PDP is always a pathfinder. As you can see, we're trying to introduce into the political space more of issue-based campaigns. That was what we sold to the delegates, and the person that did not believe that there is greater delegate engagement, the other speaker, if he has maybe 10 delegate numbers from Kaduna, Lagos, let him just pick and call. He will know that Atiku Abubakar spoke to almost 60% of the delegates that contested, one-on-one. And these are the new type of, it's a new type or system we're trying to introduce into the political space. That is the only way to get issue-based campaign up. And for the delegates that were said to be hijacked or kidnapped, you will bear with me witness. In some instances, we had to wait for the aspirants to come out and then we see the delegates. Then, if that is the case, then it means they were not hijacked, but they were accommodated. We are not in government, so it is a shared responsibility, and logistics has to happen. For Atiku Abubakar, what we are bringing into the political space, we want more of issue-based, because the unity of Nigeria is sacrosanct. We cannot move on without unity. Be it insecurity, be it economic development, once we are not united, this will not happen. So it's unity based on principle of fairness and equity. Secondly, we are talking about security. We know we have the challenges we are having. Insecurity will be taken care of once we are united, because it is human beings that are participating in banditry, kidnap, and all these things. And we believe this unity has a role to play. Atiku Abubakar is going to move towards trying to secure Nigeria by bringing us together, uniting us together. Then we'll be able to do that. Once we have that, we'll now look at the economy. When you have unity and there is peace, economy will move on. Even foreign direct investment will flow in a country that is stable without insecurity. After that, you now look at the aspect of education. Education that is important, that is useful for the challenges of today. We have universities, they are producing graduates by the day, but they are not able to attach their skills and knowledge to the challenges and demands of today. What do our industries need? What do our communities need? This our new system of education has to be aligned with the needs of today, and that is what Atiku Abubakar is promoting, because he himself is an educationist. Lastly, we are talking about two strong federal system, and we are looking at strengthening the federating units, that is devolution of powers, and that is one aspect Atiku Abubakar is bringing to the table. When you put all these things together, then you know that Nigeria is ready to move with the PDP train and Atiku as the leader. And this is what I want to know from my president. When I go abroad, I want to see that my international passport is an opener, is a master key. I don't want to be kept aside to be examined 5 times while other passports move on. When I go into the foreign country, I want to be respected as that great Nigerian, the giant of Africa, and I walk, with dignity. And this is what I want to get from a president that will come in 2023. And I think Atiku Abubakar is the right person that will restore the dignity of Nigeria. Our our centerpiece policy is also important.
Okay.
What is the relationship with our neighbors? The current challenges we are facing, we need a president that will be able to get and harness and get the support of our neighboring countries. What is it? We need to tackle it from various angles. For instance, introducing French language into our schools.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Let me hop in here so that we can maximize the remainder of the time. We're getting pressed for time. You're a member of the venue subcommittee.
Yes.
There was a report of the presence of EFCC operatives at the venue, which would appear to be unusual. What were they doing there?
It's not unusual. I think they are suddenly waking up to their responsibilities, because really and truly they have to be everywhere. And I am so happy that they came out with nobody in their cage. So which shows you that PDP is a prudent party and all our aspirants played it fair. If their van was filled up with so many culprits, then we know PDP has a problem. So PDP is clear. What remains to be seen is APC, if at all they will even conduct the election. For me, I don't believe in consensus. I want us to allow Nigerians to elect who will lead them. And I know Mr. President will want that to happen also, because he is somebody that wants democracy also. So let us see. I don't want this aspect of consensus. They always suppress people's opinion, and then they will say this is what people
Dr. Baraka.
Kingsley, allow me to tell Nigerians they must be allowed to choose their president.
This is surplus.
This consensus is not good.
You have already done yours.
We didn't do consensus. I want them to come on the field. Let's see them try it. And the good thing, you have to congratulate us that EFCC went out with empty vehicle, nobody in their cage.
Okay,
so let us see it happen everywhere.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, EFCC. You must be everywhere. We will see you too in the next convention and in the others.
Okay.
Alhamdulillah.
Peter, you're not here.
Yeah.
Peter, you're not here. Let's have your take. This could be your closing thoughts.
Okay.
In terms of the value of the direct versus indirect primaries, which also would speak to the quality of delegates who were at the indirect primaries and then the special convention. Is there anything that needs to be tweaked?
Okay, I would like to just say a word on that and quickly move to the other thing I want to say. What I want to say is that talking about quality, we are not going to have good quality, because people intentionally put those who cannot think there so that they can buy them. Honorable Danadi said, can you look at me and say whatever? If you cannot look at Honorable Danadi, there are many people they can look at. Look at them and give them stuff and they will do their bidding. But now, talking about the kind of election, the kind of whatever, over the years we have suffered a lot. I say it again. Politicians promise a lot of things. They told us a lot of things they're going to do. But when they get to power, maybe they just forget this thing. Security is a challenge. Getting jobs for our children is serious. Education, see, children are at home. But most of their own children are abroad. They are in private schools. Okay? And this has been playing in that, whether it was the first party that was in government or this one, we have always been having this problem. Today, electricity is terrible. Fuel, you can't get fuel to buy. Food, you can't get food. So these are issues. These are very, very important issues that whoever is coming in, the kind of government I'm looking at is a government that puts food on people's table. It's not the one that you can't get fuel, there's no power supply, no job for your children, schools are shut down. It's a terrible thing, and I want to beg us, anybody who is coming in, those who are coming in, God will judge us if we lie to people and we come there to do otherwise. We must have that at the back of our mind. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Peter. We have to call it time now on the conversation segment of this program, so we can take one or two of our other segments. Peter, public affairs analyst, we appreciate you being with us on the program this morning.
Thank you very much.
We also would like to thank Honorable Danladi Esuzin, two-time chairman of Kuje Area Council, and also a national delegate to the just concluded PDP special convention that nominated Atiku or chose Atiku Abubakar to be nominated by the party as the presidential candidate for next year's elections. Honorable Danladi, we appreciate your being with us.
Thank you.
Via Zoom, Dr. Ernest Sereke, we appreciate your being with us on the program this morning. Dr. Barak Hassani, we also would like to thank you, Director of Delegate Mobilization for the Atiku Campaign Organization, as well as member of the Protocol and Venue Subcommittee at the Special National Convention. Big thanks for your being with us on the program this morning. We, of course, now go over to our sports segment.
Thank you, national delegates. Thank you for making Atiku your candidate of choice, and you will not disappoint Nigerians. Thank you, Nigerians, for believing in our own convention, the transparent convention, and we look for, may God bring peace back to Nigeria. May God give Nigeria back its status as the giant of Africa. I thank you, national delegates, once again.